Is the cork really king of the closures, or is it time to give Screwcaps the crown? If you've turned down a wine because it's bottled under Screwcap, you might be missing out on some seriously good bottles. Over the years, I've heard a lot of people say things like, I don't drink wine that doesn't have a cork. I get it, there's something romantic about a cork, you know, the little noise that it makes when it comes out. But realistically, Screwcaps are here to stay. They're not just for the cheap Canyon Roads and Vista Points anymore. There are some seriously good producers all around the world that are using them. Cork does have some advantages other than just being fun to open. Cork is better for long-term storage and aging. The way that cork works is it allows some oxygen to move into the bottle, which helps with that aging process. That being said, the Stelvin closure has come a long way since it was first introduced, and they put these little tabs inside of a lot of bottles that do allow some oxygen in and out of the bottle to kind of mimic that function of a cork. If you're not putting a bottle down for long-term storage, then cork versus Screwcap really shouldn't affect your decision whatsoever. I'm going to say 19 out of 20 people that go into a wine store to buy a bottle, they are not buying things that they're going to sit on for 5-10 years. They're buying stuff that they're going to open that night or next month when they go to their in-laws' house, or they're going to give it as a gift in a couple weeks. So having a cork really doesn't affect their experience with that wine, aside from feeling like they might be getting a better quality wine because there's a cork in it. Right now I have 3 bottles that are all bottled under Screwcap that I have never tasted before. They're all from great producers, so let's see what they're like. This first bottle is from Bodegas Garzón, which is a producer in Uruguay. A lot of people don't even realize that they make wine in Uruguay, but they do. So this is a 2023, so this last year's vintage. This producer is known for being the forerunner of high quality wines coming out of Uruguay. A wine like this, a Sauvignon Blanc, you're really not meant to let it age for very long anyway, so putting a cork in this is kind of a waste because they don't really want you to sit on it for 10 years, I would imagine. So this smells like classic Sauvignon Blanc. You get that kind of gooseberry, there's a little bit of maybe green apple, something kind of vegetal about it. A little more like citrus, lemon, lime, really good acidity, medium body. Alcohol can't be too high on it, maybe 13, 12 and a half. This is really tasty stuff. Like I said, bottled under a Screwcap because these guys are not really meaning for you to go take this and sit on it for a few years. This is a wine that's made to be drunk young and fresh, which is what most consumers are doing when they go into a wine store to buy a bottle. It's really crisp, it's really clean, it's really tasty stuff, and if you turn your nose up at this because it's got a Screwcap, then you're missing out. The next wine that I have here is a semi-dry Riesling from Weis Vineyards up in the Finger Lakes. These guys actually won New York Winery of the Year this year, and if that doesn't say quality, I don't really know what does. So the family that runs this, they come from Mosel, and they saw the world-class Finger Lakes Rieslings and decided to try their hand in the Finger Lakes themselves. And they've obviously done a really great job winning awards and getting great scores from all different critics. And these guys also go with the Screwcap for most of their wines, if not all. That little white circle that you see inside the Screwcap, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. That's a little insert that they put in there that allows for some oxygen to get into the bottle without it being opened. So that's one of the measures that people are starting to take with their wines when they're bottling under Screwcap to allow their wines to age a little bit closer to the way they would if you had a cork in it. So this is something that you might be able to sit on for a few years. The nose is really fun. You're getting like mango, apricot, some little bit of citrus in the background. Really good acidity, really, really good acidity, with just a touch of residual sugar to balance it out. One of my favorite styles of wine in the world, semi-dry Rieslings. I just find that they're so well balanced and they're so delicious and they're so versatile too with what you can pair with them. This is another really young, fresh wine. It's a 2023. It's something that I would just drink now. You might want to see how it does in a few years, but I don't think it's necessary. Unless you're buying a Riesling that you want to put down in your cellar for 10, 15 years, which you definitely can find some like that, there is no reason for this bottle to ever have a cork in it. The Screwcap does just fine, it does the job perfectly, and it's honestly just easier to open. This next wine is Henschke Henry 7. This is like a really top-notch producer from Barossa Valley in Australia. This is a Shiraz heavy blend. It's 72% Shiraz, 15% Grenache, 11% Mataro, and 2% Viognier. This is a blend that you see very commonly in the Rhone Valley. We usually call them GSMs, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. Being in Australia, you say Shiraz and Mataro instead of Syrah and Mourvedre. And that little bit of Viognier in there is kind of characteristic of a Côte de Rhône as well. It's super dark, purple. Got this like really pretty rim around it. I don't think you'll be able to see it in the video, but it's just like really like pretty pink purpley kind of rim. Now this is kind of a beast. Really expressive, like really high aromatics. It's a blueberry, like baked blueberry pie kind of thing going on. Cherry, like a blueberry cherry, just like really pie-y. The fruit is big, but then in the background you can definitely tell there's some oak to this. That's probably why it's coming across to me like a blueberry pie, cherry pie kind of flavor profile. I could be mistaken, but I think they're just doing 10% new French oak on this, which is why you have just that little bit of vanilla oaky complexity on the nose. I can just smell this all day. Wow. Wow. That's beautiful, really. There's a little bit of pepper too in there. Good tannins, good acidity. I'm gonna say like medium plus tannins, medium acidity. Really tasty. It's an easy drinker. I could definitely see like firing up a barbecue in late fall with this, getting some burgers or some ribs on the grill. I think this would go perfectly with something like that. Wow, that stuff is really tasty. And surprise, surprise, it's under a screw cap. You can actually hear when you shake the cap back and forth. There is a little insert in there that'll help this age. I read some reviews of it from critics because it got really good scores, and a few of them said drink it or hold. And I would agree, this is definitely drinkable right now, but being that they have that insert in there to allow some oxygen to get into the bottle to help with the aging process, I do think this is something that you could hold on to for a little while. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that you really shouldn't be turning your nose up at wines just because they don't have a cork. Unless you're somebody who has a cellar and they want to put something down for 5, 10, 15, 20 years or more, the cork really isn't necessary. And the other thing is that the statistic that I've always been taught is that 7%, or about 1 in 12 bottles that has a natural cork, is going to go bad in some way. It might not always be a way that you and I can detect. You know, it might be something that like master som level noses will find right away, but it is true that it opens up a lot of possibilities for cork taint. Or just cork failure, oxidation. There's so many things that can go wrong because cork is natural. It does come from a tree. It's not something that we have tons of control over. You know, you can pick and choose which pieces of cork bark to use. But like I said, it is a natural piece of cork that we're cutting into a cylinder and sticking inside of the bottle. So anything can go wrong. Screwcaps definitely kind of changed that because it gives us the control over how much oxygen is getting into the bottle, if any. It gives us the control over whether or not there's going to be cork taint because there's not going to be TCA on any of these screw caps, or at least there really shouldn't be. There's a lot of benefits to the screw cap. And like I said, there is that one benefit of cork, which is aging. But 19 out of 20 times when you walk into a store and you want to buy a bottle of wine, you're probably drinking it within a month. So why bother? Do you have any of your own rules about whether or not you'll drink a wine that's bottled under screw cap? If you do, let us know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think and hear your opinions on it. And subscribe to the channel because that's free, and who doesn't love free stuff? All three of these wines are on the Empire Wine Ship free list. That means if you put together a case, mixed and matched, all the same, doesn't matter, it'll ship free straight to your door. That goes for local delivery orders too. Or if you're nearby, you can just come on in the store and pick something up. We have a ton of stuff in there, whether it be under a cork, a screw cap, in a can, in a box. We've even had some plastic bottles come through the store in the last couple of years. Things are changing, and wines don't need a cork to be high quality anymore. Maybe once that made a difference, but not today. Cheers to great wines and great deals.